Momentum, the podcast where we dive into the heartbeat of Monongalia County Schools, and we take a look at the people and the programs that make a lasting impact on our students' lives. And we're talking about a topic today that impacts all of our students' lives, and that's attendance. Joining us is Teddy Stewart, our attendance director for Monongalia County Schools, and we're going to discuss why showing up matters, the challenges schools face, and how, if we all work together, we can build a culture of consistent attendance. Teddy, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Amber. I appreciate the opportunity.
I've been really looking forward to this conversation.
Awesome. Me too. I have as well.
Let's dig in. All right, so let's just get to know Teddy Stewart.
Okay.
Who are you? What's your path to this attendance director position been?
So like I said, my name is Teddy Stewart. I'm from Monongalia County. I've lived here most of my life, a short stint. Me and my wife moved to Putnam County.
We won't hold it against you. That's good.
And we moved back once we started our family and everything to be closer to our family as well. I think this is year 14 for me in education. Started out as a classroom teacher, phys ed and health.
Okay. What grade level?
I did high school for a real short stint, and then most of it's been elementary. And then I was an assistant principal at University High, and then last year went into working in attendance here at the board office, and then here I am as the director of attendance.
We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Great little journey through Monongalia County Schools.
Yep.
So let's talk attendance. Why is school attendance such a critical factor for student success?
Being in school or anything is vital. Not missing out on what is going on currently. For our younger grades, it's really important. Building those foundational skills that that our schools do so well. Getting the kids in there every day, and it's creating good habits. Anytime we do anything, we want to create good habits, and just having that consistency, not falling behind, and being there every day. Our teachers are never, they want to keep progressing and moving forward. And when a kid misses, they have to take a breath, get that kid caught up. If kids are there every day, then they can keep going on because that's what the teachers are looking at with their classes. So if we can keep kids in school every day, keeping them caught up, then who knows the extent that that classroom can be at the end of the school year.
That's great. And I'm thinking about being a classroom teacher, and when you're looking at data or you're looking at student achievement, that's the first thing we talk about, right? Are they in school? Do we have them in their seat every day? And so you're talking about habits and consistency, and that's so important.
Absolutely.
So what are the common challenges that contribute to chronic absenteeism? What do you see?
Last year when I did a presentation for our behavior blueprint, my first slide was a cookie cutter.
Okay.
And I told the audience, what this means is that every situation is not the same. Every family has different barriers, sure. Different reasons. But our job and the attendance team, and the schools and everyone in the schools, how can we help remove that barrier? Mm-hmm. To give you, there's so many examples. But also in that same presentation, I said to everybody, who's responsible? It's everybody. From the parents at home, to the bus driver who picks them up, to the secretary who sees them in the morning, the greeters at the doors, mm-hmm. The classroom teacher, the outreach that we have, everybody's on that board, on that team, making sure why that kid is or is not there. So it's a pretty big big team, sure. Making sure that those kids and what we can do to help in whatever situation we face.
So you talked about a team. Now you oversee a team. Can you tell us a little bit about what your team members do, what role you play in that team?
Sure. So we have an attendance committee at the schools. It's all assistant principals, okay. Who watch attendance at their specific schools. Okay. And then in elementary, we have Burlington, who works with us. We have what we call attendance specialists. That they have one or two or some one of them have, or two of them have 3 schools they monitor.
Okay.
So it's divided up amongst them. In the middle and high, we have school-based probation officers, and they are, that's a collaboration, a connection to the judicial system that was felt needed.
Sure.
Even before I came, that's been a long-standing, partnership with both those entities, because those are something that could be an intervention that we may need down the road.
Absolutely.
But they also have resources to help break down those barriers.
I love it. I love that. I love that we have so many people in place. I mean, it just goes to show you how important attendance is when we have all these players in place.
Right, and we try to work through the multi-tiered system of supports.
Okay.
And one of my foundational habits is being preventative and proactive.
Okay.
What can we do? And we don't just go from saying you're not here to all right, now you're going to court. That shouldn't be happening. We need to find out what is going on and what is the root of the problem and what we can do to help.
So we've talked a little bit about the problems. Let's talk about the successes. I know going out on the road with you to different schools, you love to celebrate student successes when it comes to attendance. Can you share maybe some of the successes that we're seeing or a specific success?
So countywide, our attendance is right around 94%.
Okay, and we strive for
95.
Okay.
So we always are looking for that goal of 95. Also, getting our chronic absenteeism down, which chronic absenteeism is missing anytime. Anytime you miss school. But Scott Soderholm, who I'll work with here at the board office as well. At one point here in January, we had nobody in the red. So that is a success for countywide. So everybody is continuing to be in the positive and the right trajectory where we want. So that is a success within itself. That all the time, that even like I said before me, this has been something that the last couple of years. I'm just here to try to make it better and see what we can do here now, currently facing whatever issues, to get to a point where maybe it might be 95. So
we're hoping.
We're hoping, that's right.
So what strategies or incentives do you use to kind of help with attendance?
So every school is different, and I encourage that.
Okay.
I encourage the schools to see what makes, what drives their kids.
Sure.
Whatever it may be. Every school has, and that's what we've tried to showcase.
Yes.
What schools are doing. Whether it be in the classroom, monthly. The attendance specialists, they really have the monthly classroom attendance awards, which most of just about all the schools do that. I talked to a couple of them this morning. They've got some ideas going on for this month.
They're so creative.
Right.
They're so creative.
And like we tell our teachers, how the importance of having a PLC, bouncing ideas off each other. Well, they have that.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
That's
they
awesome.
they on days of the week they can have the opportunity to meet and say, what are you doing? I need to do something, and they can bounce off ideas. I'm always, a phone call away if they want to do something. I've encouraged the attendance, committee. I think they ought to know by now. I will do whatever.
Yes.
To get kids, to find out. And we also have partners within the community who I've worked with who give, coupons for kids. And they have, over the years, they have always been so supportive. And giving us stuff to hand out to kids for attendance, and I really appreciate all those partnerships as well.
They do a great job.
Yep.
So what role do parents and guardians play in ensuring good attendance, and how can they support their children?
They have a very vital role. They're the ones that see them first thing in the morning, and even scheduling appointments. And we have lots of parents who think ahead. As a parent myself, we only go to the dentist twice a year. And, they say, well, we're in, October. I go, well, can I get one at 3:30? Try to miss school. If they can't, then, getting in when they take their kids out and getting them back to school, after their appointments, making sure they stay healthy. They're getting good sleep. And anything we can do to help in that situation. Our outreach facilitators are great in working with families, and our counselors. In any school, I don't know any school that wouldn't work with a family. So parents are a part of that importance of getting their kids to school too, and we have lots of parents who bring their kids to school. So that's an important role as well.
Making sure they get there on time,
Yep.
and the tardies and all of those things. I mean, like you said, we have so many resources here.
Absolutely.
Reach out, and I know that you are one of those resources.
Yeah.
Reach out.
And we have morning and afternoon programs.
Right.
Susan Taylor, I think, puts that all together. And to work with families there, because we have those situations where they got to be there to get them off the bus or get them on the bus, but those morning programs will help out at the schools. So that's an important thing as well. So
let's talk statewide initiatives. Are there statewide initiatives out there that we're following along with, in addition to what we're doing here in the county?
Sure. We have a contact at the State Department. You know what I mean, and they have brought in nationwide speakers, which we have as well, to work with us. And every county faces similar problems, different problems. Some of our more rural counties, they're spread out and they face different barriers. We do try to work. The state does try to bring people in for us. A lot of same people we brought in as well.
We kind of lead the way.
Yeah, I mean,
you can say it. We lead the way.
So they're very similar.
Okay.
And even for me, I work with other counties. They've even divided us into certain counties as a group.
Okay.
Who we were supposed to meet so often, and so our neighboring counties, we meet on occasion to talk about what are you seeing, what questions you have, and that's led by one of the directors who she reports to the state too. So we try to have some consistency and find out what is working for you and what not.
Do you see that the other counties have similar issues that we have, or are we different?
No, very similar.
Okay.
For our neighboring counties, a lot of them though are a lot smaller scale, so we do face a little bit bigger issues. But also being where we are, I hear a lot of our neighboring counties say that kids are coming to Morgantown for appointments because their counties don't offer that. So they are traveling, and that's why their kids are missing, where our kids are here. So they're close. So that's an advantage for us a little bit. And I'm sure in the bigger counties, they probably face what we face too in the bigger pockets.
So my next question is going to kind of take two angles. If you have a struggling student struggling with attendance, can you speak to that student who's struggling, but then also can you speak to the teacher of that student? So
Sure.
What are the two pieces of advice you would give to both of those groups?
Well, so one, we want to focus on the big piece of being preventative and proactive. Trying to give every kid has a chance to win that award, be an attendance spotlight or whatever the school does. So if we need to be more specific in a tier 2 or tier 3, we can focus on that kid because that may be the only kid who has those barriers that the other kids are not facing. And their teacher is vital. In communicating. We have so many ways to communicate anymore. It's not just a phone call. Lots of families, they don't care to text. And my team has the resources to text, and families enjoy that too. They're busy. And sometimes a quick text of saying what's going on. We have Remind, and that's a direct connection to the teacher. And lots of times I've had the conversation where, and I get it, you get a group text from a teacher and families are afraid to respond because they don't want the whole group to know, but that's not what happens. So it just goes back to the teacher, and I've had to learn that, that when I respond to my kid's teacher, it's only going to her, and just say, hey, this is why, what can I do? But I think anytime a parent hears from their teacher, that's important, and I'm sure you know that. Yes. They appreciate it, and the schools, check, making phone calls to check on them and things like that can go a long way.
Definitely.
And feeling that trust and support, from the school to the home.
How about the struggling student? What would you say to that kiddo about the importance of coming to school?
So just having that sit down, going, hey, why are what's going on? Why are you missing? Not trying to be towering or any way, and just listening to them, what is going on, and what we can do, and trying to get them like, well, hey, you missed what we did yesterday, and that comes from the teacher as well, because teachers have things planned, and we can't recreate those things.
No.
At the high school, I'd always say we can't recreate graduation. We want that you to be a part of that because it's a special day, and all those days, those experiments or whatever's going on in the classroom, it's hard to recreate those. So that's what and I think when the kids come back the next day, and they see their teacher and their teacher saying, "Hey, I missed you," like that goes a lot, because that kid goes, "Okay," and they want to be there just as much as we want them there, and that's a wonderful thing to have that, for a kid to know that they are loved in that classroom, all year.
I think you have the coolest job. You get to just tell kids, we want you here.
I mean, I don't know what.
I want your job. That is so cool. All right, it is time to play This or That School Edition. Are you ready?
Oh, okay.
So you've been a teacher, you've been an admin, you're now in this director role. So you've seen a lot of school.
Yep.
All right. Okay, here we go. So this or that, you just say the first thing, no explanation needed, unless I
Okay.
ask.
Oh, okay. Sure. No problem.
All right, middle school gym class or high school algebra?
Middle school gym class.
Question, I guess that was pop quiz or surprise assembly?
Surprise assembly.
I'm really excited to hear this. School mascot costume for a day or substitute teach in a kindergarten class?
School mascot.
I love it. All right, lunch duty or bus duty?
Believe it or not, I'll take bus duty.
Really? Okay, I'm going to have to ask why.
Well, so when I was in Hurricane, working at a school down there, I had bus duty, and my job was, once the buses left, I got to open up the door for the kids and to come out, and it was just a fun opportunity to mess with kids, or and also I got to see parents.
Right.
And they enjoyed it. I mean, if I was, just having fun with their kids, and then I got to know their names better, and then also you'd see their siblings sometimes in the car, and you'd be like, "Oh, I'll see you in 2 years,"
Exactly.
and actually at the high school, we were always on bus duty,
Yeah.
and I had the radio, and there's always until there was a problem,
Always something.
But anything else, so but lunch duty was fun too. But I think the kids, though, at lunch duty, they want to be with each other. They don't want to deal with me, or
Sure.
Unless of course I had gift cards or something, then for a contest. But bus duty, I take bus duty.
All right, I like this one. Students calling you by the wrong name forever, or always stepping in a mystery puddle in the hallway? That's a good one. I mean, how do you choose?
That's a tough one, because believe it or not, I've told people, I very rarely I don't think I've ever called Mr. Stewart, because I've coached, and I would coach Stewart, or sometimes as a high school, sometimes I may get Stewart, or something, and
Sure.
I just be like, "What are you doing?" But and then you see these kids out in public, and their parents, and these kids, they know you by your first name. Where if I would have never done that, even as an adult working with teachers that I had, I still called them Mr. or Mrs. But kids are just different. As long as they said it respectfully,
You're good.
I was okay with it.
It's better than a mystery puddle.
Right, it is. So the mystery puddle. I don't.
All right, last one.
All
I
right.
like this one. No school for a snow day or extra recess every day?
extra recess.
Every day, why not?
Why
right?
not? I mean, they've earned it. 100% attendance today. Why not?
100% attendance is what we're going
I
for.
mean, why not? So,
Strive for 95.
Strive for 95, yes ma'am.
Mr. Stewart, it's been amazing talking with you as always. You are such a bright spot for our county. I mean, you lead with your heart and you want kids in school every day, and it shows. So I appreciate the conversation.
Yes,
It's great
ma'am.
to have you.
Ms. Nichols, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, that's a wrap on this episode of Motivation and Momentum. A huge thank you to Teddy Stewart for sharing his insight on the importance of attendance and how we can all work together to support student success. Make sure you tune in to our next 4 episodes where we're going to do an exciting series of academic content areas. Until next time, keep pushing forward with motivation and momentum, and we'll see you later, Monongalia County.